welcome to The Ripple Effect. I'm Jessica Ausbrook from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. Normally we have our friend Kim Graves with us, but she has a vacation day today. Enjoy it, Kim. We have a special guest with us today, Dawn Harvey. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Now, you're here representing Alternatives to Suicide here in Kokomo and Howard County. It might not sound like a super fun, exciting topic to talk about, but it's certainly a topic everybody needs to talk about.
Yes.
Let's first talk about the organization. What do you provide for folks here in Howard County?
So what it is it is a peer-to-peer group that is just for people who are experiencing or have experienced at some point in their life suicidal ideation, be it passive or active, because there's no place to talk about it. And it's so taboo. It's so stigmatized. You can talk about any other emotion, any other feeling that you have. But if you talk about, just maybe not wanting to be here anymore, or life would be easier, if you feel like life would be easier if you weren't here, then boom, you're gone. You're in treatment.
Might be time to talk to somebody.
An involuntary hold, and so we just provide a space to talk and process these thoughts, process these emotions, and you're with like-minded people who have also lived this, and yeah, it's a much needed space.
So how long have you been here in Howard County?
Well, we started in March of 23.
March of 23. Now I wonder if post-pandemic, if there has been just a skyrocket of people who maybe aren't feeling quite like themselves, and maybe they don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so it's loneliness and isolation is the enemy. It's the opposite of connection, and connection is what we provide.
And if anybody is out there and has ever had any of these thoughts before, that's what feels right. You're like, you know what? Nobody wants to see me. Nobody wants to be around me. I will stay here by myself. And it's not true. That's not true at all. It's the story we tell ourselves.
Absolutely. And as an introvert myself, I struggled with that. What's the balance between introversion and just needing to be alone and recharge, and I just kind of don't want to deal with anybody or talk to anybody, and the isolation, because those can have an unhealthy marriage really quickly.
The compound too.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like we're kind of laughing about it, but we're not. It is, again, a scary thing that affects people. I think sometimes we're like, it's teenagers, mostly teenagers, that type of thing.
No.
But it is folks of all ages.
All ages, yes, all ages. I'm glad that you brought up the youth component, though, because you can't avoid the elephant in the room, that we've lost so many people in our county, neighboring counties, so many young people to this as well. And Alt2su right now is adults only. We don't card, we don't check your ID, we don't even ask you your real name. So it's literally whatever. You could come in and say your name is Big Bird, and we'll call you Big Bird. It doesn't matter.
I'm Big Bird.
That's, yeah. But I mean, really, because, sometimes people come in and they know each other from work, and, you don't have to give your real name. And we say that, we always have like a little speech at the beginning, a little, like, it's not really a rules meeting or sorry, I'm in athletics. So it's like, it's not really a rules meeting, or it's
just sets the rules of the day,
kind of. Tone,
yeah.
Right? What the charter, it's the expectations and agreements of the group. And so if somebody gives a false name, then you just know that they're not comfortable. They're taking a step that's needed, but they're not fully comfortable with being known in that way.
Now, you mentioned this is adults only, and you meet what days of the month?
First and third Thursday.
First and third Thursday, but this month it's just a little bit different because the 4th fell on the first Thursday,
yes.
Correct?
Yes. So we want to honor people because we are so big on connection. That's what we value. That's what we want to provide for people who are feeling so alone, because you're not alone. This is a very normal, we want to take the stigma off of this thing. So the 4th, we meet from 6 to 7:30, and so that's prime cookout time. That's prime get-together time. Everybody's prepping their fireworks, and so, we wanted to just say, you know what, we didn't want anybody to have to make that choice. So you just spend time with your loved ones, and so we're meeting this Thursday and next Thursday. So it's the second Thursday and third Thursday this month, but Ordinarily, it's the first and third.
And we're meeting at the library.
Yes, library upstairs.
South Branch? No.
Nope, downtown.
Downtown Branch. So you can check that out.
Yeah, and it's easier to get to for most people because of the trolley system and everything as well. So,
You know, and you mentioned seeing folks of all ages. And we talked a little bit about, for your position with all of this, to be the person who kind of sets the tone for the meeting and walks through the meeting, you have to have special training too.
yes. So when we talk about it being peer-to-peer, for those that don't know what a peer group is, it's someone with lived experience in the particular field. So there's peer groups for all kinds of things in recovery. There's peer groups for addiction recovery, mental health recovery, any type. And so this specific peer group is for people who have lived experience in suicide recovery. So in order for myself and our other co-facilitator, his name is Mickey, he's fabulous. We also identify as people who have lived experience in this type of recovery, be it passive or active, intrusive thoughts, these types of things. So when we go to training, we just basically learn how to hold space for each other, because the group is just as much for us as it is for anyone else. So it's all an active piece together. We all share the space. And so we just learn how to make sure that we all share the space and how to facilitate the conversation. But it makes a huge difference because we respect each other's autonomy, which means that you are in full control of your story, you're in full control of yourself. There's no hospitals, no clinicians, and no police officers. Not that those three things don't have full value in this realm as well. It's just not part of our group, and that's what makes our group so special, is you come in as yourself, you talk however much you want to talk, you don't have to, and you just know that you are welcome in this space.
That's really great. And like you said, not to keep those three out, but sometimes when people are talking about these types of things, they don't know what's going to happen. You know, they're scared to say anything about it because then what happens to them?
Right. And we have people in group who have, they have positive experiences with treatment or with holds, or, you know, because at that point in their life, they needed that. Mm-hmm. And we have people in group who have negative experiences with that because it did not respect their autonomy. So a lot of people have volunteered to go to treatment. And again, it's that autonomy piece. Mm-hmm. So we respect our people as their own voice, their own person, their own human. And so whatever they say is whatever they say.
Now, let's say somebody comes to one of the meetings and they're not in great shape.
Yep.
What do you do?
So the beautiful thing, because we get asked that question a lot, so I'm glad you asked it. The beautiful thing is that the group is called Alternatives to Suicide. And so what it means is that everybody comes because they're looking for an alternative to suicide. So my alternative to suicide is my dogs, my family, my sports, and so these are the things that I talk about, like when I'm feeling low and I need to kind of find that ray of sunshine or that little piece of hope. Those are the things that kind of remind me of the joy in my life. Mm-hmm. Those are my alternatives. I have more, but you know, when you're feeling really low, you don't see it. Mm-hmm. And so when you come to group, even if somebody is feeling low, even if someone is more active than passive, they still chose to come to group. And that in itself,
it's a good sign.
Speaks volumes, because they're looking for that connection, because they're avoiding that isolation. And so we speak to them, and we spend, like I said, we manage the time and we make sure that we're sharing the time. But everybody understands that sometimes people need a little bit more time. Mm-hmm. And so then we spend the time and we find out, and we try to help them and come alongside them to find out what their alternative might be. Now,
were you nervous the first or second time you went? Like, there were going to be people there that you knew, and maybe you were anxious to talk about this kind of thing in front of them.
Yes. I'm still nervous to talk about this because there's so much stigma around this thing, around suicide. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit about me. I grew up well. And I thought to myself, like when I was struggling with these thoughts, I thought I had no reason to feel them. Like what right did I have? And so that was really a whole other piece to this for me, because I didn't understand why I was feeling them, number one, and I didn't think that I had the right to feel them. And so that puts a whole other level of shame on you as well. And so when you go to share about this, you're very aware of all the stigma that's around it naturally, and then your own stigma that you place on top of it as well. I did a PD at work for this as well, and I was absolutely out of my head about sharing this in front of coworkers, because
what are they going to think?
You're supposed to be professional at work, and you're not supposed to share this vulnerable side. And they really, it just goes to show you that the more you break down these barriers and you give it a space, that it's not so scary. It's very scary the first time, but luckily I was welcomed, and it provided a space for people to have more conversations with me. Have more dialogue over how to have conversations with others. And so it's just planting little seeds.
Well, and I think that when a lot of people think about suicide, they think, oh, that's not going to affect me. That's not going to affect my kids. And realistically, it affects everybody. I would be lying if I said I haven't been so deep in the dark that I haven't thought about it. It's been a while, and with lots of mental health, speaking to a therapist, that kind of thing, it's not necessarily something I still feel now, but it could be, it can pop out of anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what this group is for. Like you don't have to come just when you're feeling low, because like I said, it's so stigmatized and you don't have a place to speak about it. And so if you build this connection, you build this little community of people. So when you have this community, you know that you can go to them when you're low. And then also, it's just like friendship in a way, because even if I'm feeling good and I know, I want to go in and I want to check on my people. So I might go in when I'm feeling good and you might be having a hard day, and I can still support you. So it's not just about me. It's about the connections that we make.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really great. Sounds like a great organization. Alternatives to Suicide. You guys, again, meet the first and third Thursday of the month at the downtown library location. But this month, today, you'll be having another meeting, right? Oh, sorry, this Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yep.
Yes. And so I wanted to, can I speak on?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I wanted to kind of share about, I wanted to touch on the men's mental health piece, because Mickey is our male facilitator, and I have been amazed at the amount of men that have come into our group, and Mickey has done a fantastic job of relating to these guys and just kind of dropping the facade of the tough guy. And so when he said, I met with him before coming here because I wanted to get the men's piece, right? Because he said, he even said it's natural for women to want to speak about hard things. And he said, but it's not natural for men, especially when they divulge such vulnerable things. And, he said, he just so the community knows, this is a space for men and women. You are encouraged to, he said he sees people walking around with their chests puffed up that he's had conversations with, and he knows that they're hurting inside. He said, just know that you don't have to feel that way, that you can come and you can drop that and you can go at your own pace. Like we have people that come that they don't talk for the first couple meetings. You don't have to. That's the beauty of it. Like we respect. Nobody's gonna call on you. This isn't school. You can come and you can sit and you can just absorb and you can get a feel for it, because it's all about trusting us. We know what it's like to have to carry that as well. And so you can just come and find your space.
So the men and the women, the group meets together. Are there, 5 people, 10 people?
So we average about 6 to 7.
That's a nice size.
It really is, because I'll be honest with you. I was concerned because I wanted to help the world, right? And I wanted to fill the library. But it's important to meet the needs of the community and meet the needs of your people. And they want the small group because it feels less like an IOP. It feels less like a group that they've been assigned to. It's just meeting with a small group of peers, friends, maybe. I mean, friends is a loose term, but it feels homey.
Yeah.
And
it feels good to know that you're not the only one walking on this path.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we would like to come to one of these sessions, do we need to make an appointment? Do we need to call ahead, or can we just swing on in?
Nope, you just come on in.
Come on in as you are, and you can talk. You don't have to talk.
You don't have to talk. The only requirement is that you identify in this type of recovery. Yeah.
So adults only. Is it 18 and older generally?
18 and older generally. Like I said, we don't ask your real name. We don't check IDs. If you've got a question on, if you've got a younger person that's 17 or, they're really in need of help, you can reach out to myself, and we can kind of fill that out together. We've had a couple younger people come just because there's no place for younger people to come. But we do kind of need, since the topics that we include are kind of hard sometimes, we want to make sure that we're protecting the minors. It involves, making sure parents are involved, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on and that it's involved with minors. So
that's why we do adults for now.
That's why we do adults for now.
Well,
minors are in the works.
Yep.
Minors are in the works.
That's great. Do we have any idea on a timeline for that?
I wish.
We're working on it, right?
I wish. Yes, not soon enough. Not soon enough.
Now, again, if anybody would like to reach out, would like more information to Alternatives for Suicide, how would we do that?
Can I look?
Yeah, okay. You can look at anything you want.
I have the email, but
We'll check that out.
Don't want to get it wrong.
I get that.
It's alt2suindiana@gmail.com.
Alt2suindiana@gmail.com.
Yes.
Send an email there if you have any questions. And then check out the group meetings on Thursday nights, 1st and 3rd of every month, except this Thursday, 6 to 7:30 at the Downtown Library location here in Kokomo. Dawn, is there anything else you'd like folks to know?
Actually, yes. I would like to speak on the method that we use. Just quickly, because I think it's universal to anyone. The method that we use is called VCVC. It stands for validation, curiosity, vulnerability, and community. And so it's just how to foster connection with people, and it's not just for suicide. So when you are having a conversation with somebody, a tough conversation with somebody, a normal conversation with somebody, it's important to validate their concerns, their feelings, to show curiosity, to ask genuine questions, to be vulnerable yourself, to be part of the conversation but not command the conversation.
That's important.
Yes, because nobody wants to bare their soul to a brick wall. So if you can also be vulnerable there, then it becomes a shared community. And then the community piece is just being there for each other and also sharing different pieces of connection, like this worked for me, this person's great, whatever.
That type of thing.
Yeah. And so it's wonderful. Use it.
It's helping people.
It helps people.
Helps people right here in our community.
Yes.
For sure. Again, check out Alternatives to Suicide, their next meeting coming up this Thursday at the Kokomo Howard County Public Library, the downtown location. Dawn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
That's The Ripple Effect. I'm Jessica Ausbrook from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union, and we'll be back again with you next week.